to the Alonzo Says Show, and I'm your host, Alonzo. Most time when you see your congressman is when it's election time. He'll come by and he'll shake hands with you and tout his accomplishments in office. But how has that served you as a whole? How has that served you? Has his policy served the people as a whole or a certain segment of people? And most of the time, the people that's most served are the well-heeled and rich and elite. And it shouldn't be that way. The first thing you hear rich people say is that, oh, they're jealous of me because I made this money because I'm rich. And that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. It's one of the biggest lies that they can put out there. I think most individuals like myself feel as though that just as though congressmen make laws to put in barriers to keep fraud activity down amongst the common people, the same should be done for the rich and elite. They are allowed the most access and influence of anyone, and it shouldn't be that way. Because public policies reflect that. You take a look at the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers are some of the most wealthiest men in the world. And they take that influence, and I don't feel they do it in the interest of America. It's in the interest of themselves and their cronies. And they're in the pockets of a lot of Republicans. And they base their proposals and legislative based on that. The law that was passed or put into play by the U.S. Supreme Court was just atrocious, where it allows just an unfiltered amount of money to influence elections. And they'll tell you people being rich and pouring all their money in, that has nothing to do with politics. That's the most foolish assessment I've ever heard of. If you by any chance believe that people do something for nothing, I'm going to walk up and give you $1 million. And I don't want anything. I just want you to hear me. But I want nothing in return. If you really believe that, excuse my French, but you are a fool at best. I don't care who you are. Money buys influence. That's why your wallet is very important. That you spend it in a wise way and put it in better use in getting things accomplished. You spend your money when you want your car to be fixed because you want it to work better. You spend your money on your rent because you want to have somewhere to live. You spend your money on your utilities so when you come home, your lights come on, your gas, your heat comes on. So why would someone spend $1 million to not have you vote in a way that's detrimental to the common person? Just think about that. Think about that. Now these congressmen, they put up ads, attack ads, nasty in all sorts of ways. You take a lot of campaign ads, and it takes different websites to do what they call fact check, where they can sit and go in and decipher what's true and what's not true. You should do the same. You have a person who's an incumbent. He already knows that he has a portion of you all in his back pocket because you're not going to question him. He's always been your congressman. So why should you concern yourself or worry about a new challenger coming in? You should. You should listen to what this new challenger has to do. Does he have a new idea? Can he change what your incumbent is or is not doing? So you have a lot of these officials that's elected in Congress who decide that they want to work on K Street. And K Street is just nothing but a bunch of lobbyist companies that they own that street They leave Congress and go right here and work for the same companies that they're supposedly railing against and creating legislative and proposals against. By the time that they go work for that lobbyist company, they know the ins and outs. They know the people to go see. They know the power players. So it's just one big circle. And you're not in it as a regular person. You know, I think people in particular are African Americans have to start to learn the process and how it works, the ins and outs of it. Now, do I feel racism exists? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's there for you to see every single day. Sometimes not as blatant, but it's subtle. But I also know that as African Americans, we have to take responsibility for our own action as well. You have young teens, young African American teens, who if you walked up to them and asked them who their congressman of their state is, or ask about certain proposal or legislation, or certain policies that's being enacted, you ask them about that and they couldn't tell you. But if you went and asked them who was Rick Ross and Nicki Minaj, they can tell you the new album that's coming out, they can tell you the lyrics, they can tell you what they're wearing, they can tell you what brand of liquor that they drink. All these things that they can tell you, that they put effort to learn, none of that is a benefit to them. In the long run, it has no value system to them. Now, how is it that you can remember this, something that has no value to you, but yet though something that has a great impact on you now and in the future, you have no interest in? That is why you have a lot of these congressmen who won't even come to black communities. Not because there's not any intelligent people there. There's a lot of intelligent people. Where you stay at does not say a lot about your intelligence. Because there's people who's dumb as a rock in a rich neighborhood. And there's people who's of the greatest of intelligence in the projects and in the trailer parks. You're just not respected in that manner. But they don't come to those neighborhoods because they feel like, well, they're dumb anyway. Why should I bother with them? Because it's a perception. It's not a fact. It's a perception that the media on both sides has pushed. And it doesn't help that a lot of those people in those neighborhoods has helped enact that. You know, they go off and do things that just make you shake your head. Now, I think it's important that you start to take an account to what's around you. The world is changing at a fast pace right around you. Jobs is being sent over to other countries right before your eyes, but they'll still say, buy American, even though those jobs are going out the back door. And don't blame Obama for all that, okay? I think that's the most sickest thing is whenever something happened, you blame Obama. Obama ain't got anything to do with this company that decide, you know what, for cheaper labor, I'm going to send these jobs over to India and cut the legs off under the people over here in the United States. Because that's their business. Obama can't come down and say, you cannot send these jobs over to India. Oh, he can always try to persuade them, but he can't force them. A lot of companies who cut hours down to 27 hours or cut benefits and blame the Obamacare for it, already had it in mind before. They just took advantage. They took advantage of a hot issue and a situation and an environment that they could do that. No different than the recession. When the recession happened, a lot of companies, they didn't need to cut as many people as they did. A lot of them took that time to redesign their company and cut a lot of top heavies out. People who was making money who wasn't leaving the company. Even though the executives were doing the same thing. The shareholders doing the same thing. The CEOs are making disgusting salaries. Now, I'm not saying that you don't deserve to make money, but you're not going to tell me some of these packages that some of these CEOs get is not just disgusting. You're walking out there with a 10, 15, 20 to hundreds of millions of dollars in severance package. There ain't no severance package. That's enough money for you to start your own company. But yet, though, when a regular individual walk away from that company, he don't have that kind of severance package. He's lucky to get a year's worth and then unemployment. He's lucky to get that. But a lot of this is because these CEOs, these congressmen, are all in bed together. And they allow you all to fight over foolish stuff every day. Like gay rights, discrimination, health insurance. Something that you should need. You need to have health insurance. It may not be perfect, but something is better than nothing. I don't care where you're at. If Canada can do it, if you can have other countries who's nowhere near as strong financially as the U.S., one of the strongest in the free world, if they can come up with a universal health care system, they can do it here too if they want to. But when you put greed in the front and special interests and mix it in like a one big bowl with congressmen and special interests like the lobbyists and TV pundits like Fox News, you pour all that in one big bowl and mix it up together and you got total chaos and a big mess. And no one is suffering more than the regular common working person, because they allow you to sit there and fight over foolish issues that has no bearing on anything really when you look at the whole scope of things. While they're over here creating laws, benefiting from it, while you have absolutely nothing to show for it except argument, separation. That's the only thing that you have actually left in that situation. Why not start going to these debates, voicing your concerns, or writing your congressman and having them send you a personable letter? And I don't mean a letter with a stamp on it, because a lot of them send robo letters to you with their stamp on it, have their staff to sit there and send a letter and stamp it on it. I'm going to give you a prime example. I called my local, both Congress, Republican and Democrat. I called their office and I left an email, and I received the email that stated that I could give them a call, and I did. And I spoke to one of their staff members. Staff member sit and ask me, what was my email or call about? And I said, well, I like to speak to my elected official. I like to speak to him. And they said, what is this in regards to? I said, well, I like to speak to him about issues that plagues my community. I have ideas I think that would better my community and how I can help with different reforms. And they asked me, are you with an organization or a company? I said, no, I'm just a regular individual, regular U.S. taxpaying citizen. And I was told by both of them, it was almost as if it was a script. They said every year the Congress, he or she has a certain amount of visits, open books, open spaces where you can come in and visit. And unfortunately, from what you're talking about, I didn't fit that mold. So they couldn't give me a space to come in and see him in a block of time. I couldn't come do that. And my response to him was, I said, okay, so what you mean is I'm not one of those organizations or lobbyists or people that's going to grease their palm. So there's nothing you can speak to me about. They said, no, sir, that's not what we mean. I said, yes, it is. I don't have any money to give him. Or I don't have any special gift for him. Or something down the line. And that was on both sides, okay? Not Democratic, not Republican, on both sides. You have a lot of individuals that says the most ignorant things sometimes. You had a gentleman in Kentucky stayed in the most hideous looking area, in the coal mining area, up in the mountains. And they asked him who he voted for. He said he was a Republican. He said he couldn't stand Obama because Obama was the worst president he'd ever had. Even though he'd been standing there all them years, teeth rotted from no insurance, a little bit of unemployment or Social Security benefits or welfare. The same, he said, I vote for Republicans because they know what I need and they make sure that they don't take away what I have. Even though that the very benefits that he's receiving, the Republicans are voting to take it away from him. It's not Obama. The Democrats are actually fighting in that position to make sure that he can continue to get those benefits. It's Obama who's trying to make sure that he has some sort of health insurance so he can go get his teeth fixed. That man's probably walking around with all kinds of disease and don't even know it. Why wouldn't you want to have some sort of health care? I think it should be mandatory that everybody should have an annual physical every year. And that way, it can be caught early. Women should be getting breast exams, exams to make sure they don't have ovary cancer. Why wouldn't you want to have a healthy workforce? It's time for us as citizens, no different than other people in other countries who's railing against their government or overthrowing them. Now, I'm not recommending that here in the United States. I'm not recommending that. And I don't want someone on here to say that that's what I'm recommending. What I am stating is we need to be more involved in the process, more heavily involved, holding our officials accountable, questioning their position and tactics, and not allowing the television to lead your thought. It's okay to listen to them. They have some facts. They have some information. But when they start to take it and try to spin it to where it fits their mold or fit their, whoever their particular brand is. Okay, well, this is a Republican brand. This is a Democrat brand. So what we're going to do, we're going to spin it to where we'll give them facts, but we won't give them the whole facts. And because half of them will go look it up anyway. It'll take people like me and other individuals out there who sit and say, okay, wait a minute, that's not true. Here is the facts. Here is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So I ask you all to go to my website at www.alonzosays.com, my Facebook, my Twitter, and sound off. Give me your ideas on your responses. And I'll in turn, I'll respond to some of those responses. I won't be responding to all of them, but I will respond to some of them. Some of them make sense, some of them that has where you're looking for new ideas and you're in the middle as well. Thank you for joining me. I'm Alonzo.